With over $3 billion in acquisitions this year alone, Ripple is closing the financial ecosystem that they've been building. Most people still think that Ripple is just a payments company, but when you take a closer look, they're building a financial operating system. Every acquisition here, from custody to issuance to payments to treasury to capital markets, together they are forming the plumbing for global liquidity. And at the heart of it, you have two assets, RLUSD, which is Ripple stablecoin, and XRP is the bridge for global value. This is the full financial circle that will power the next generation of money. The financial structure starts with trust and compliance. So at the base layer, we have Medico and standard custody and trust. So Medico is based in Switzerland, and they already work with global giants like Citibank, like BNY Mellon, and BBVA. And they safeguard trillions of dollars in digital assets. And Ripple now owns that same infrastructure. When we go into standard custody and trust, they add that legal backbone. It's a NYDFS chartered trust company that gives Ripple the authority to hold, issue, and settle digital assets under strict U.S. regulations. So this is what bank-grade digital asset custody actually looks like. It's the foundation for everything else that Ripple is building on top of. It is the trust and it is the compliance. Okay, so once you have the regulated custody, now you can finally start to issue money. This is exactly where RLUSD enters in. It's a one-to-one backed US dollar stablecoin, and this is designed for institutional finance. So RLUSD acts as digital cash that can move instantly all across Ripple's rails. And when that value actually moves across borders, XRP becomes the bridge, converting RLUSD into any currency in the matter of seconds. RLUSD stabilizes the value and XRP mobilizes it. XRP moves it. That's how Ripple is connecting traditional finance and digital liquidity. Now we're going to talk about how the value actually moves. So Rail manages stablecoin payments within the United States, and RippleNet and on-demand liquidity, they handle the global side. XRP is moving the value in real time, and RippleNet already connects to 1,100 institutions across 70 countries, moving billions of dollars every single quarter. And together, they are kind of creating a dual rail system where RLUSD is for domestic flows in the United States and XRP is for the international settlements. So this is how Ripple is replacing the friction of SWIFT with programmable liquidity. So this is where Ripple is actually stepping inside of the enterprise. Treasury manages liquidity for more than 3,000 corporations, including some of the top Fortune 500 leaders. And Ripple is actually integrating RLUSD and XRP into that system, meaning that CFOs and treasurers can now manage fiat, stablecoins, and crypto side by side. They can pay invoices, they can hedge FX, they can move liquidity, all in one single dashboard. And RLUSD functions as the digital operating cash, I guess you could say. And XRP is that instant global settlement. So this is how blockchain enters into the boardroom through utility. And at the top sits Ripple Prime. They built this on top of the acquisition of Hidden Road, which is one of the largest non-bank prime brokers on the earth. Hidden Road clears over $3 trillion annually across FX, derivatives, and digital assets for more than 300 institutional clients. So through Ripple Prime, hedge funds and asset managers can now trade, borrow, or lend RLUSD as a stablecoin or as stable collateral, and XRP as the bridge collateral. So Ripple has entered capital markets, and this is how they're evolving from fintech startup to a prime broker of digital finance. And everything is tying back to XRP. XRP is the bridge asset that makes this entire ecosystem interoperable, from custody to issuance, payments to treasury, markets back to the custody. XRP has a 3-second settlement over 70 countries and over $1 billion in daily on-demand liquidity volume. So XRP is the infrastructure, and RLUSD is keeping the system stable, and XRP is actually the one that's keeping it in motion. So when we zoom out and we look at the full picture, we have custody, issuance, payments, treasury, markets, all the way back to custody. Together, they're creating this closed loop system where RLUSD and XRP circulates like kind of like the bloodstream of this financial system. Ripple isn't competing with banks, okay? They're upgrading them. They are complementing them. They are implementing programmable liquidity into this global system. So, when people say Ripple's just a cross-border payments company, I kind of laugh because that was just like phase one. It was the start. What Ripple's doing now is something much bigger than just that. They're building a full-blown financial ecosystem from custody to stablecoins to payments to treasury to capital markets. All of them are connected through XRP and RLUSD. This is the infrastructure that Ripple is building, and it's kind of the backbone of the next generation of banks, corporations, and markets. All of them could probably run on. So think about it. Everything kind of fits together when you're looking at this chart, right? You have Medico. It gives them the tech that the banks are already trusting with. Standard custody as well. It gives them that regulatory license that most crypto companies, they don't even have. They don't even have that trust. You have G Treasury. They plugged Ripple straight into the enterprise world. The CFOs, the Fortune 500s, the real money movers now have access to it. You have Hidden Road, that's now Ripple Prime, and that brought them into the world of institutional finance that moves trillions of dollars every single year. When you put all of that together, you've got something that no other blockchain company has ever built. It's almost undeniable. It's a complete financial system that runs on digital rails with RLUSD as the stable foundation and XRP as the liquidity that keeps everything moving and keeps it all alive. Ripple's not trying to replace banks. All right, they're upgrading the system that the banks are already running on. So to everyone that's been holding throughout the noise, throughout the doubt, this is your validation moment. You saw it before the world did. You didn't just believe in a token. You understood what was being built behind the curtain. Ripple is not your average company. And that's what's being built here. It's the future of global money. This is straight up financial architecture that's about to reshape how the entire world moves value. And you front ran the governments. You front ran the institutions. You ignored the hype. You ignored the bullshit. You paid attention. You studied the research. And you found your conviction. So congratulations to every single body that is sticking with their convictions. I hope that you get truly rewarded for the work that Ripple has been putting in. And imagine them still saying, but Ripple's dumping XRP on the market. Well, $3 billion in acquisitions this year alone. I wonder what they're doing with all that money. I wonder what they're doing.